All right. Before we wrap up, I want to share some key takeaways I got from this episode about health savings account. And I'm so glad that Joe Mecca from our sponsor, Coastal Credit Union, is here to join me to kind of talk about these key takeaways. Thanks for joining me, Joe.
Oh, thanks for having me again, Al.
Well, I appreciate this because I'm like you. We have an HSA that we use for our health accounts and to save for those expenses because they do happen and come up. So I was going to ask you, what made you two decide to sign up for an HSA? Were there any particular pros or advantages that you wanted to take advantage of?
Well, actually, the first year that Coastal
Mhm.
offers an HSA account for our employees as well. But the first year that we offered it, I actually didn't sign up for it,
Mm.
um, thinking that it was going to cost me more. But the
Ah.
second year, I stopped and actually sat down to do the math because the HSA had a lower premium
Mhm.
than I think it was a PPO account at the time. But also, I was making contributions into a flex account,
Mhm.
which really was kind of use it or lose it money. And I was finding myself at the end of every year trying to scramble to use any unspent funds that were in that account. So I actually sat down and I did the math and I calculated, okay, what's the difference between, what am I saving on the premium, the difference there, and then what am I putting into that flex account? And would I be better off taking the high deductible plan with the lower
Mm.
premium and then putting the difference plus the money that I was putting in the flex account into a health savings account where I'd be able to benefit from that, not just that year, but in the long term. I did the math and it actually worked out to my favor. So switched over to the HSA account right then and there, and I've been on it ever since. Coastal now, we all of our employees are on a high deductible plan, so we all have HSA accounts. So now I did, we all do it. But when I initially had the option, sat down and did the math and calculated out that it was a better option for me.
Yeah, I think that's important. Sometimes, we immediately see the lower premium for that health plan with the high deductible, and we're like, okay, that's automatically going to be better. But that's not always the case. Running the numbers, seeing for yourself absolutely is critical and crucial. Now, something when I was looking into this, I was surprised that you don't necessarily have to go with the HSA provider that your employer has. You could, for example, like go with your bank or credit union option. So I wanted to ask, since you work at Coastal, like what's the process of opening an HSA through your credit union or bank?
It's pretty simple. It's just as
Mhm.
easy as opening up any other account. You can even do it online. The only real difference between opening an HSA and, let's say, a checking or savings account is that you do have to provide some sort of documentation that shows you're eligible for an HSA, which means you have to
Mhm.
have paperwork showing that you participate in a high deductible health plan. But beyond that, it's just as easy. You can do it online. You can do it in any branch. And you just get that documentation from your insurance provider that shows that you do have a qualifying plan, and then you're able to start contributing to that. You can do payroll deduction, you can
Mhm.
do direct deposit, or transfer into it from another account. It's pretty simple. And then you get paperwork at the end of the year for your taxes that would show that what you contributed, and you're able to deduct that from your taxes at the end of the year.
That's fantastic. I know anytime it's a simple solution, that's great. And the reason I wanted to mention that it's a possibility to go through your bank or credit union, I know Coastal has a loyalty bonus. And I notice with the health savings account that qualifies for the loyalty bonus. Could you take a second to kind of describe what that is and how that works?
Sure. So every year, Coastal aims to return some of the money that we've earned
Mhm.
back to our members. That's who it belongs to. And through our loyalty bonus program, we issue a special dividend. And it's actually quantified based off of your total relationship with Coastal. So we look at all
Mm.
of your deposits plus all of your loans and then give you a percentage of that back. So the HSA account just gets factored into that total deposit number, but a lot of times people don't know that that's just something that goes into that calculation as well. They think it's just what you have in your savings, but it's the total of your deposit account. So HSA would contribute to that.
I know for me, Joe, actually, that was the case. I thought it was just for checking and savings. And the funny thing is, before we were with Coastal, we actually had an account with one of the big banks, not going to mention names. And we had for years been with them. My husband had an account with them, and he would get these like little interest, dividends, so forth. And he had a good amount in there. He's a saver like you naturally. And the funny thing was, after we had joined Coastal that next year, I think it was February or whatever, he got his loyalty bonus, and it was such a shock. It was a shock because all that time he had been there with that big bank, that Coastal, that one Coastal bonus blew that away. So
Oh,
he
wow.
definitely is like, yeah, everything's moving over to Coastal. So, I mean, it's the little things that count, right? And whoever you bank with, especially, if you're using a credit union, the advantage is you are part of the credit union and you get those bonuses. So that's why I wanted to include that loyalty bonus, because I do think that makes a difference, especially for couples who are trying to make their money work harder for them. I think that's one of the things that makes Coastal special and credit union special.
Absolutely. And it's, just another way that we're always trying to find, ways to help our members bank better. And if we can help you improve your financial life, we can help you improve your overall life. So, um, yeah, it's just another piece of the puzzle.
Yes. And thank you so much for joining me, Joe. I really appreciate you sharing your tips and stories. And guys, if you want to get a better account, if you want to move your money and actually see it grow, please check out Coastal. And you can also look at what they have to offer at bankbetter.org. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Thanks, Joe. Take care.
Thanks. See you later.